Money fights in relationships rarely start with math. They start with meaning. One person hears budget and thinks of safety and air. The other hears the same word and thinks of restriction and a parent taking away the keys. Before you can split a bill, you have to understand the story each of you brought to the table, how you grew up with money, what you fear, what you want to protect, and what you refuse to give up because it makes life feel like yours. The good news is that you don't need spreadsheets to stop arguing. You need a shared map, some ground rules, a gentle system that runs when you're tired, and a way to repair fast when something goes sideways. The math is the smallest part. The design is the magic. Begin by changing the objective. You are not trying to spend the least, you are trying to spend on purpose, so the life you share gets bigger while the fights get smaller. Budgeting for couples is not an audit of character, it's logistics for a team. A team plays better when everyone knows the field, the clock, and the score. That means, once, you say everything out loud. You trade money biographies, the first memory of money, the thing you always splurge on, the bill that scares you, the best financial decision you ever made, the thing you want that feels too big to say. You are not negotiating yet, you're translating. It is much harder to fight a person you just understood. Next, co-write a tiny vision. 2 or 3 sentences are enough. We want a calm apartment, traveled twice a year without debt, a car that starts, and savings that would carry us for 6 months if something happened. If you have kids or plan to, name what matters. Time over toys, school options, a house with a yard, an apartment near work, grandparents in the picture. A vision isn't a poster, it's a filter for decisions. When you know what the next 3 years are buying, it's easier to stop arguing over a dinner you'll forget in 3 weeks. Now, instead of leaping into categories, draw a money map for how cash moves. Most fights happen at the handoff points. Who pays when? What account funds what? Which card is for groceries? Which card is for fun? Because nobody designed the pipe first. Your map can be simple and powerful. Income arrives in 1 or 2 places. On the day after payday, it flows to 4 buckets with names you both like. Bills for the fixed obligations that keep the lights on, oxygen for the emergency fund and the annual big bills that sneak up on couples who rely on memory, growth for investing and for paying down any high-interest balances, joy for the weekly money each of you can spend without a permission slip. The percentages don't need to be heroic at first. They need to be automatic and predictable. If money flows the same way every pay cycle, the budget stops being a courtroom and starts being plumbing. Decide on a structure for accounts that respects both autonomy and teamwork. The old argument was one joint account or separate. The modern answer is both on purpose. Keep a joint account for shared bills and shared savings goals, and keep individual accounts for personal spending and personal micro goals. When each person has money that is theirs to use without commentary, resentment goes down. When the shared account covers rent, utilities, groceries, kids, and agreed savings, anxiety goes down. The ratio you move into the shared account can be equal amounts if your incomes are similar, or proportional if they are different. If one partner earns twice the other and you want equal lifestyle and equal progress, consider funding the joint account proportional to income. You both still contribute to the life you share, you are simply acknowledging the math, so the person with lower income doesn't become the household's permanent austerity officer. If you carry debt, decide where it lives. Shared debts belong to both and should be paid from the joint plan. Individual debts that one person brought in before the relationship are delicate. You can agree that the person who owns the debt is responsible for the payment from their personal funds, while the couple funds shared life in a way that doesn't punish the person paying down that old balance. Alternatively, you can treat the debt as a household problem and aim at it together because the household benefits from lowering risk and stress. The decision itself matters less than putting it in writing so next month's mood doesn't rewrite your policy. Transparency is non-negotiable if you want fewer fights. Both partners should have view access to every account that affects the household, even if spending rights differ. Hiding money or hiding debt is not privacy, it's a fracture. Privacy lives in your personal allowance and your micro goals. Secrecy lives in shadow accounts and surprise statements. Ban surprises that carry interest, and encourage surprises that carry flowers. The weekly rhythm is where peace is built. Don't hold monthly budget tribunals, hold a 15-minute money huddle once a week, with tea, not tension. The agenda is the same every time. You glance at the joint account balance and your personal balances. You confirm that the 4 buckets got funded after payday. You look at the calendar for any upcoming lumpy expenses. You choose one nice thing for the week that costs little and feels like partnership. You end with a sentence of appreciation for the other person's contribution, even if the contribution was simply, "I didn't doom scroll and impulse buy at 11 p.m." The point of the huddle is not to debate, it is to keep the system visible so stress doesn't get to invent a story between meetings. Automate everything boring. Direct deposit lands. Transfers run the day after payday. Bills draft from the joint account on specific dates that you control with the provider. Your emergency fund in Oxygen gets a slice every time without either of you needing to be in a rare mood called responsible. Your investments in growth happen on the same schedule. If one of you loves tinkering with tools and apps, that person can do the setup. If the other loves clarity, that person can do the naming of buckets and the weekly huddle facilitation. Trade jobs inside the system like a small company would. Money is easier when it's a process, not a performance. Household fairness is more than euros. Track tasks as carefully as transfers. If one person shoulders most invisible labor, meal planning, laundry, doctor appointments, school forms, that load gets a voice in financial decisions. It isn't your money and my chores, it's a system where both cash and time are scarce resources. Decide together where time saves money and where money saves time. Paying for a cleaner twice a month might be the best budget move you make because it prevents fights and frees hours to plan meals, fix the printer, call the insurance company, or rest. Budgets that ignore time become resentment budgets. Resentment spends badly. If your incomes are irregular, build a floor and a season. The floor is the amount you must earn each month to cover the joint bills and the minimums for Oxygen and growth. The season is how often you adjust your plan. Quarterly is calmer than monthly. During high months, you pay the floor and sweep excess to a shock absorber fund that lives between checking and savings. During low months, you pull from the shock absorber to meet the same floor. The income with irregular income doesn't become the household emergency. The system absorbs the variance. Autonomy survives because panic stays out of the kitchen. Every budget needs a no with shame policy. You agree on a phrase that protects both of you from impulse and from manipulation. That's not in this month's plan, but let's put it on the list for the next huddle. The list lives in a shared note. When the huddle comes, you price the item, you check against the vision and the 4 buckets, and you decide together. Saying no is easier when it's a policy and not a personal rejection. Saying yes is sweeter when you both see what else you're saying no to so that yes can exist. Big purchases require a ritual. You adopt a 7-day pause for anything over an amount you choose and a 30-day pause for anything over a bigger threshold. During the pause, you write the job the item will do, the total cost over its useful life, and the no-buy alternative that would solve the problem without buying. Then you decide together whether it belongs in bills, in growth as an investment in your home or work, in Oxygen because it prevents future emergencies, or in joy because it's purely for delight. Couples don't usually fight over the price. They fight because the category was assumed, not agreed. Personal allowances, your weekly joy buckets, are a pressure valve. Pick an amount that fits your reality, not someone else's thread online. Reload it weekly. When it's gone, until next week. No tracking, no questions, no post-mortems. The person who wants sneakers uses their allowance. The person who wants books uses theirs. The household doesn't litigate preferences when preferences are funded. Your shared life is not a jury, it's a house. Allowances make rooms inside that house where personality can breathe. Children change the budget math and the budget emotions. Decide now whether childcare is a joint expense that you both fund at the same proportion you fund rent and groceries. Decide who handles the administrative friction for kids' money, the forms, the camps, the clothing seasons. Fund a kid's envelope in Oxygen for school fees, healthcare deductibles, and shoes that suddenly stop being shoes. If one parent pauses or reduces work, attach a date and a review plan to the decision, and agree on how you'll preserve that parent's financial security. Retirement contributions continued by the household, a return to work training budget, or a timeline for reentry. Budgets without this conversation breed quiet fear. Fear breeds fights that pretend to be about pizza but are really about power and safety. Culture and family expectations aren't side notes, they are part of the terrain. If one partner sends money home or supports relatives, put it in the plan as a line with a name and a range. It's not leakage, it's a value. If the other partner bristles at that value, talk about the boundary. You both should know the cap per month or per year, the criteria for exceptions, and how you'll communicate about requests. Love for one's family does not need to bankrupt the new family. Respect for that love does not need to disappear because a spreadsheet says so. Write this one down. Agreements spoken in kitchens tend to evaporate in living rooms. Your emergency fund deserves rules because fear loves to argue. Decide the size, 3 months of core bills at minimum, more if your jobs are volatile or one income carries more load. Decide what counts as an emergency: job loss, car repair that prevents work, medical bills, basic home repairs, travel for a funeral. Decide what does not: sales, vacations, limited time appliances, optional travel. Decide how you refill the fund after use and how you'll suspend non-essential spending temporarily without turning your home into a boot camp. The purpose of Oxygen is to let you breathe without blaming each other when life sneezes. When fights do show up, and they will, fix the process before the person. The next time you argue about an item, stop and ask which part of the system failed. Was it the weekly huddle that got skipped, leaving both of you guessing? Was it the category that wasn't agreed on? Was it a bill that moved from annual to monthly without anyone noticing? Was it a values conflict disguised as a receipt? Change one piece of the design. Add a reminder. Update the list of pause thresholds. Move a bill to a different date. Clarity is cheaper than couples therapy. Therapy's good too, but start with clarity. Protect your future together like you protect your present. If your employer matches retirement contributions, both of you aim for the match even while paying down debt. What feels slow early compounds into speed later. If one partner has access to better retirement benefits, it's fine for the household to fund that account first as long as both names show up on the balance sheet somewhere. Wealth that belongs only to one person creates power imbalances that show up in arguments that pretend to be about takeout. Wealth that belongs to both creates options that show up as less panic and more gentleness. If trust was broken, secret debt, hidden accounts, a big purchase without consent, repair has steps. You start with full financial disclosure on paper. You agree on a transparency period where every transaction is visible and every big purchase uses the pause ritual. You define a measurable milestone for restoring normal privacy. You name the behavior that protects trust. No advances on credit for non-emergencies, no new accounts without both knowing, a shared email for bills so both see statements. You forgive slowly and you verify consistently. The budget becomes the scaffold that helps you rebuild what a sentence shattered. Long-term commitments like marriage or co-ownership add legal layers that are not romantic and absolutely necessary. Prenups and postnups are not plans to leave, they are plans that keep money honest if something ever goes wrong. Titles, beneficiaries, and wills should align with reality, not with a daydream from 2 apartments ago. Life insurance should match the dependents in your household. The person whose unpaid labor makes the house work is as insurable as the person whose salary pays rent. This is budgeting with compassion. You price the invisible and you insure the irreplaceable. Tools can help as long as they make you talk less about transactions and more about goals. A shared spreadsheet or app that shows the 4 buckets, the joint bills, and the personal allowances is enough. Automations that fail silently are the enemy. Choose tools that alert both of you when a transfer fails or a balance gets low. If you use credit cards for rewards, pay them fully monthly from the joint account, route points to a shared logging, and refuse to let rewards dictate purchases. If rewards are a hobby for one partner, cap the time and the impact. Fun only if it never causes interest and never steals hours from the bigger game. Rituals matter because money is more habit than event. Start payday with a small toast or a walk where you read the 4 transfers out loud. End the week by naming one spending choice you were proud of and one you'll do differently without blame. When a big bill ends, a car loan, a daycare contract, a student loan, decide in that moment where the freed money flows next. Money freed without a destination evaporates. Money reassigned on purpose becomes a raise for your goals. Finally, remember that love is not scored in receipts, and thrift is not a character. You can be the spender and be brave for your family. You can be the saver and be generous in the right moments. You are not each other's judge. You are each other's partner. The budget is the way you both care for the life you're building, not the way you win points against each other. There will be months that feel like the plan is barely working, and months where you feel rich in options. In both, you stay with the rhythm. Income, buckets, huddle, pause, decide, repair. If you do that for a year, you will fight less, you will save more, and you will feel like the house is on your side. The biggest shift is quiet. You stop trying to convince the other person to be you. You build a system that lets both of you be yourselves inside a plan that pays the bills, protects your sanity, and funds the things you said out loud together on a calm afternoon. That is budgeting without the fights. Not austerity, not control, but choreography. 2 people moving their money in the same direction without stepping on each other's toes.